Do you have any further questions? I've got some resources I'd like to show you as well, but if you've got time for some questions, please.
Could you just comment, I guess, on the cultural factors of introducing systems thinking? You illustrated well with your example of the server decommissioning, that delay effects play a big role.
Yeah.
And if you're in a sort of culture of quick wins, how have you been able to illustrate how it's the things, the importance of these delay effects, I guess, on the outcome?
That's the magic, isn't it? How to balance the short term with the longer term, the more strategic way of doing things. Yeah, you just have to do it. You just have to start to work at it and to chip away. You know, start off in a small area and conduct a proper analysis, and then get some results. And when you can get some results, like with the server decommissioning, then you can start to convince people that, look, I'm sorry, we're going to have to slow down on these things. We can't take action that quickly. And we're talking about those delays are only like weeks, maybe at the most months. But some delays that happen, as you know, they can take place over a number of months or even years. And so it's very difficult, but you just have to start off small. Start off with something small that you can show people, make a case study from it, get people's buy-in. That look, we found this out, but we only found out because we slowed down. We started to do the proper analysis work.
Are you suggesting that system thinking is actually forward thinking?
It's forward thinking and it's also backward thinking as well. Because we have a history, and let's consider cause and effect. That some of the actions we take in organisations, we're not going to know if they're successful for a number of years, right? So we need to understand what we've done in the past, and we need to understand why we did it. So it's also a little bit of sort of retrospective thinking as well, backward thinking, but it's also forward thinking. Yeah, indeed. Sure. I think you.
So I know I'm reasonably new to this as a formal way of thinking about problems.
Yeah.
Do you find that you are helped in this if, say, if you were trying to introduce systems thinking to an organisation, if that organisation was well instrumented in the sense that you could go to them and say, look, over the last 5 years, what was your work in your application service? They could say, here it is, rather than we have no idea.
Yeah.
Right, so do you find that level of business intelligence helps this?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You do need to have the data and the information available in order to make the right decisions. Yeah. So it really does help if you've got an organisation which is process-based and you've got metrics on things and so on. Yeah, definitely, it does help. It does help. But it's not strictly necessary. I mean, you can go in with a systems thinking toolkit and you can work this stuff out, right? That's what it's for. But definitely, yeah, it does help if you have a process-based organisation that's got that information available. Okay. Someone else? Yeah.
Is there any relationship between systems thinking and innovation or functional fixedness at all?
I think there is. I think there's a big link with innovation, and this is something that I've tried to document a little bit in my PDF that you can see there's a section there on innovation. Systems thinking, for me, and this is something that you'll find in the fifth discipline, comes with the other 4 disciplines of organisational learning, how to build a learning organisation. And they complement each other. So you have other disciplines, and I don't know if you're aware of them, but that you have team learning, you have shared visions, mental models, and personal mastery. Systems thinking is the 5th discipline, okay? It's what holds them all together. But I think together, as the organisational learning concept, definitely, it has a big impact on innovation. All right, big impact. Especially the team learning and for systems thinking as well, for sure.
Can we learn about the 4 other disciplines?
Sorry?
How can we learn about the 4 other disciplines that are in the book?
But in fact, as a first step, I can show you some resources right here. This is my blog, and this is where you can download the PDF that I mentioned earlier. So this is an IT blog, so there are some things there that you might be interested in as well. There's some stuff about lean coaching and stuff like that. But if we go down to, see systems, So CS Systems is a PDF. I think I've got one here with me, I think. Yeah, it's this. So you can learn about, get a very good overview of the other disciplines there as well. Okay.
So, by the way, I'm going to publish that book.
Sorry?
Sea of Systems, I'm going to publish that book.
It's published. It's published on my blog. The intention of CS Systems is really just to provide a high-level guide, something that you can read on 2 or 3 commutes easily. It's not too heavy. It's not going to solve all your problems, but it is going to help to increase the awareness. So that's what it's really for. Just an overview. I'll share with you another resource which I've got here very quickly. I know we're running out of time. This is the OLIT, and OLIT stands for Organizational Learning and Information Technology. This is actually a community page, and it's a resource page as well. There's a lot of information here. I don't know if you're Facebook users, but what do you think of Timeline? Do you use Timeline? Yeah. A lot of people like it. Some people hate it. I love it. And on here you can find a lot of things about systems thinking over the years. It goes all the way back to 1990, and you can see that a lot of resources, a lot of videos, a lot of information here on system dynamics, for instance. These are little lectures from the MIT that you can have a look at. Peter Senger is talking there as well in some videos. And there's a book list, right? So all of the good books which have come out about systems thinking you will find there as well. Yeah, it goes on and on. It gets into Stafford Beer and a few other people. Ackoff, who's one of the great system thinkers. So it's good to go through this on a rainy weekend and sort of to have a look at those videos, all right? And it goes all the way down to 1990. You've got some stuff there from Deming as well. I've got Deming talking about systems thinking, all right? So it's really interesting stuff. Started in 1990 with the 5th discipline. There you go. And the page there is OLIT, okay? So it's facebook.com/4/OLIT, all right? Please go there and like it and share it.
Hi, Jen. In your project in NAB, as deployment manager, how do you affect the thinking of, say, the project managers on that project?
Yeah,
the systems thinking.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've actually just started working on that program. One of my first jobs was to produce the deployment plan, which is like an implementation plan, but it covers a broader scope because it covers the business readiness as well. So part of that plan is a value network analysis, which is part of self-process analysis. That's a framework which is actually a lean framework for mapping out the socio-technical environment. So it looks at the intangible and also the tangible interactions between systems. So that's one way that I've done it. The value network analysis is quite big, you know, because there are lots of interactions between my part of that program and other parts. But that's one way to do it. And I think that people will start to see the value of that because they can see, yeah, in fact, I'm actually dependent on a lot of people in order to get this thing across the line, right? So that's one way to do it. But
it's one of my challenges.
One of your challenges, yeah.
I'm finding it very hard to, as a small fish in a project, I'm finding it very hard to tell people that they need to talk to other stakeholders within the organisation to be able to. Yeah. We're affecting you. Oh, why do we need this? We're working on different systems that we're going to use. Yeah. Maybe you talk to them yet.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you can start off by using some kind of impact assessment, right? So you do an impact analysis, try to map out all those stakeholders, and then get them together, have a stakeholder meeting, and try to slowly try to get them on board. And, yeah, I know it is difficult. And you want to start adding value. You don't want to go in with another framework and say, I've got this framework that's amazing, it's systems thinking, it's going to help you, because that's the last thing people need. They don't want another framework, they want to have some added value. So, as I said before, it's really good to start off very small and just like make a very small example. Something that you can use as a case study to showcase to people and to get their buy-in and commitment to support it. Yeah. Good luck.
Just on that innovation for systems thinking, in New Zealand, an exercise
The end-to-end journey, yeah. It sounds fascinating. Yeah.
So you gave an example on how to reduce costs in IT,
Yeah.
and you gave an example of how not to do it. Can you give an example of how to do it?
And how to do it? Yeah, to slow down. That would be the first thing, to slow down and to thoroughly understand all of the systemic influences. It is difficult, right? Because you can't predict some things, but you can predict a lot of things, and you can try to start to model. But I think that's the way to really approach it. On my blog, there's a lot of comments around this. There's a post there, and you can read what people have been writing about it. But I think essentially to get all of the inputs and outputs, to thoroughly understand demand management. What is the demand? What's the forecast? And how's it been in the past? What's going to happen? So on. Yeah.
So in terms of that, the example you raised, cutting costs in IT,
Yeah.
that I appreciate the systems aspect of achieving that goal.
Yeah.
Presumably there's also value of backing up one step. And if you don't actually, to start with, if you don't understand that side, could it be the real thing is you need to spend more money in IT, you just don't know it, right?
Yeah.
The cost cutting may be misguided in the first place.
Exactly.
So sort of backing up another level would be helpful there.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. It's kind of like that, right? You need to step backwards and let's think about this properly. Have some workshops. Get people to share perspectives. That's another important thing. Because in IT, we just have one perspective on things a lot of times. It's good to involve all the business stakeholders, get other people into the room, and have a good session to get all the ideas flowing. Yeah, it's a good idea. Okay.
I have one question. How exactly do you sell this idea of slowing down in the current environment where everybody's trying to speed up and act like that?
It's difficult. I know everyone needs to have fast action. But as I said, the only way you can really do it is to start off with a small example and to build a case study around it and to be able to show people that it really does pay to slow down, to understand what in fact is going on here. And if you can do that, and if it's something that you can catch people on, then that's great. And then you can go with that example and you can use it. But I know that it's difficult. It's a magic, it's an art to balance the long term and the short term.
On slowing down, is it always the answer? I mean, is there other
Sometimes you need
other
to
ways to look at it, like reducing the delays in the system, and what you can do to reduce those?
I think it's always the right answer to slow down. When we're talking about taking action, all right? The Deming cycle, PDCA. So there's a lot of planning involved in that, and I think that's an important thing. I think you can't avoid slowing down. You have to slow down because we're talking about before we take the action. And when you take the action, then of course, you might need to deliver those servers a little bit faster. But hopefully you figure that out when you've done your analysis. But before you make the action, before you take that action, it's important to slow down. Because you might take that action and it could be completely with the wrong thing you shouldn't be doing. So that's the reason why before we make the action, before we take action on our systems.
But regardless, you don't know that the action's wrong until you get the feedback telling you it's wrong.
That's why we use system dynamics, because we can model the situation.
Sure.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is,
sure.
if you can get that feedback faster and know that you're wrong,
Sure.
then
Sure.
surely that's more important than slowing down.
Absolutely. I mean, sometimes it's okay to go in and to make mistakes, or to see how things pan out. The important thing is that you then take that feedback and you do something with it. You don't ignore it, and you don't start thinking, oh right, I've got to do something else now, and then you start shifting the burden to another thing. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. Well, look, I think we're out of time, just about. So, was that useful for you?
It just changed my mind. I think
You're
I learned
effective.
a lot. Yeah,
There you go. Convert. No, that's really good. That's really good. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. Please go and visit the Facebook page and like that. Okay. Thanks very much for coming.